Welcome to another edition of What the Fuck Happenings here in Mendham, which is sort of a mess. Yeah, well, not that I always haven't been a mess, but it's messier than usual. Weather-related problems, power out, such, you know. So only on generator power, so I'll not go on for an hour this time. Lucky you, maybe. So anyway, so just irritating. Yeah, that's all. Just, life. Yeah, it just isn't worth it. Too much trouble. Too many aggravations. Especially as you get older, it all gets less and less charming. And you see it. You've seen more stuff, more horrors. Like, for example, I had something living under the house, a gopher or no, groundhog. Um, yeah, groundhog probably. And there's still something new here. But anyway, something got it under the house. Something went under the house and got it, and in a bad way. And I had to listen to that whole, the struggle-y last 60 seconds of life kind of thing. And just horrible. You're just, I mean, the screams, animals you didn't even think could scream were screaming, just nasty. And that's all what the whole thing is about, is just this battle. Yeah. So yes, we're battling with each other for status, and in the hierarchy, for the to anoint to be anointed with privilege and advantage and comfort and all that kind of stuff, and then we are decimating the other possessors of pieces or niches of the environment, and the invaders get trapped and killed and maimed and butchered. And it's all this evolution thing, and again, it's just that simple. So there's all these atheists out there who claim some sort of intellectual integrity, because they didn't fall for some really silly fable. When you think about it, religions are just silly fables, and they prey on people's brains with superstitious notions, like, oh, if I don't believe this, I'm going to be cursed and jinxed, and God will hate me if there is one, maybe. Some kind of crap that eats at their psychology, so they in some way are conceding to it, whether they believe in it or not, because of fear. Some sort of anxiety about giving away anything that might, harm them. So they'll give no inches to being their intellectual integrity has no power against their superstitious, emotional, fall for coincidences kind of, weak-mindedness, I guess you could say. And yeah, I'd say I could be vulnerable to it myself. I mean, there have been times when I've made some sort of bargain with the ether. Oh, if you don't turn that light off in 10 seconds, you'll get cancer. Some sort of neurotic, silly thing, where you make a bargain with the non-existent because you want some kind of control over what happens to you. And we're not allowed to have control, so the only control is our delusions. Wishful thinking, some sort of, it's not going to happen to me because I have curlier hair, and it only happens to people with straight hair, and so I'm okay, I'm safe. We just rely on a bunch of notions that somehow we're too special. We're immune. It can't happen to us, and it's a way of just navigating fear. And you should be afraid, very afraid. And then there are the other people who they just have some notion that no matter what life throws at me, I'm perfectly, I'm ready for it. Tumor pop my eye out, well, it'll be cool. I'll videotape it. It'll be fun. It'll be a new experience. And they talk all this big talk. I don't know whether they could actually live their big talk if they had to. We don't get to test them, so all we have is their big, bold, I'm not afraid talk, which, I don't buy it. I'm not a horrible sissy, but yeah, suffering doesn't appeal to me. Throwing up every 15 minutes or something, if I had to do that for the rest of my life, yeah, that wouldn't appeal to me. Sorry. Yeah, no. I wouldn't just grin and bear it and say, oh yeah, it's okay. That's my life now. And no. And you get a little taste of it. Like I said, little things happen to you as you get older. You get a bad back, and you get this, and you get that, and you realize how vulnerable you are, how just at any minute, the quality of your life can be just crushed like a spinal cord. And you're done, and your life's going to be really unpleasant. And the funny thing is, but it won't be nearly as bad as it could be, because you could have, 2 broken legs. You can always have, liver cancer and pancreatic cancer. It can always be worse. And that's just dismal. So again, the only defense people have is this irrational, it's all okay, especially if it's still happening just to them and it doesn't happen to me. So it's all okay as long as all these bad things just keep happening to these other people and it doesn't happen to me. It's okay, it's a good deal still, as long as I don't have to pay the bill. And they just keep doing this, and it's just so obnoxiously stupid. And they're doing it for what reason? Because they have to defend their existence, and they have this perception that they're special, and certainly that wouldn't fit into a philosophy that says, oh, this was always a bad deal. It's always a dumb idea to have more of this happening to people. And so they somehow have to justify it. They can't be the captain of the baseball team if there's not a baseball team, and if there's not blah, blah, blah. So they have to have the entire infrastructure to justify their one silly thing that gives them a little bit of sense of I'm winning feeling. And therefore, because they feel like they're winning, they can make a ton of losers, and it's okay. People who don't feel like they're winning, and aren't winning, they are in fact losing badly. And then again, there's no context, no perspective, because you don't live the worst of your life in the beginning of your life. You start off all young and healthy and strong, and that's not how you're going to play most of your life. Most of your life is going to be, by statistical averages, is going to be in some less than youthful, strong state. But anyway, they're just not paying any attention. So, yeah, so there shouldn't have to be a conversation about this. We should be able to understand that most of this is just psychology, and people are just, doing the optimism bias thing, because the alternative is, oh shit, I have to be afraid every day. And they don't want to do that. And I understand why they don't want to do that. But that doesn't mean you lie to other people, and it doesn't mean you lie to the world, and it doesn't mean you sentence other people to ride in a shitty boat. It doesn't mean that you pretend the Titanic was a good boat. You know what I'm saying? You can do both. You can be on the Titanic, you can know it's the Titanic, and you say, well, let's just make the best of it, and let's eat all the ice cream that's left, and that kind of thing, and let's have as good a day as we can before the big finish. And you can say, yes, that's a lot better than panicking and screaming and all that kind of crap. So yeah, let's do it gracefully. Let's gracefully play our game. But you don't sentence another group of people to go through the same denial and the same bullshit, the same lies. You don't force somebody to live through the same lies, of go on the same voyage and say, oh yes, it was a great ship. Everything went really well. Well, except for the sinking and dying part, everything went really well. I mean, come on. Quit selling something you know is broken. Quit selling something you know is broken. Quit selling something you know is broken. It's not worth the price of admission. It's not worth the victims you're going to create. And you're going to create them. I mean, and they certainly won't take any responsibility. Well, I wasn't the only one advocating for it. Everybody else was pro-life too. It's not my fault, all those victims. I didn't create. Yes, you did. You were just as much a part of it as all the other soldiers in the war. So you have to take responsibility for all your rapes and pillages. I mean, it's really. But look, all this is, I'm talking some sort of rational thing, rational conversation, and there won't be any of that. So, just really irritating. So anyway, so that's where I always float back to the basic argument that this is just about the fact that this is just a parasitic infestation on Earth, this DNA molecule, and it's just made these machines. And somebody posted me a link to some article on consciousness, and again, because people keep, I have to admit, it's difficult to grasp in your when you haven't thought about it good and long. Consciousness just seems, it's too strange, it's too weird. But it's just an illusion in your head. I mean, in a sense, you could give a computer consciousness if you could figure out a way for it to feel the ouch, for it to feel a negative. Because as soon as it can feel something obnoxious, any kind of obnoxiousness, you can use the removal of the obnoxiousness to create a reward. And now you have reward and punishment. And that's why we're conscious, is because it makes us reward and punishable. It's that simple. It makes us stick, and it makes the reward of not being hit by it. And that's it. So consciousness is just an illusion, theoretically, fundamentally. It's just an illusion that we, as the conscious being, have, that this negative sensation is negative. It just happens to feel that way. But the feeling is an illusion in the sense that it's just a bunch of electricity going through neural networks and making comparisons and evaluations. It's just that kind of gibberish, but somehow it gave this certain kind of binary code, this little bit of dot 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 dot, a significance that's different than all the other things have in terms of significance, in terms of just the thought of a 2 or something. And that's the nature of consciousness, is the self-aware, in the sense that there's a self to be harmed, a self that's vulnerable. It can have a noise come in that is irritating. And by noise, I mean a vision or a sensation, a touch, or a sound, or anything that comes into the senses that can be abrasive. And that's all that negative sensations are, like pain and stuff. They're just a kind of noise that our computer finds repugnant. It's just, I can't function with that noise happening. And that's sort of like a computer. It just dysfunctions. It fucks the CPU. It fucks everything. And somehow the CPU knows it has that it has to get rid of that to function. But that's all. So it's just a thing that happens in the software or the hardware, whatever, that creates this ouch, and that's all it really is about, creating an obnoxiousness. And then you have power. Once you can make something feel obnoxiousness, then you have power over it. Then you can do reward and punishment. And that's all the rest of the game is this rewarding and punishing for behavior and for the thoughts that lead to behavior. And then we're back to social conditioning and the games people play with themselves in terms of reward and punishing themselves, giving themselves the reward of being unaccountable. I didn't. Everybody else was pro-life. I wasn't. Whatever the lies, the delusions they have, that I didn't torture any kids. Well, yes, I advocated for the very things that torture kids, but I didn't do it. Yes, you did. They eat the animals and then, claim I didn't kill them, I didn't slaughter them, I didn't mistreat them, I didn't beat them, I didn't do any of that stuff. I just paid somebody else to do it. It's so illogical. So, yeah, consciousness is interesting and bizarre, but it's not like the grandest mystery in the universe kind of thing. I mean, we can understand what the process was, and that An organism can't really learn anything unless you have reward and punishment. Unless you reward doing good logic and punish doing bad logic or thinking, processing, functioning. And this is just a way of rewarding and punishing, which allows the evolution to climb new staircases of complexity, where if it doesn't have reward and punishment, it can't learn. It has to just stay with this built-in program stuff, and you can't write any new software. See, we're not born intelligent. We're not born educated. We're not born playing the piano. We don't have any mechanical programs that just say, do these things. We have to learn them. And we learn them through this idea of being stimulated to be being passionate, being rewarded and punished through our own psychological mechanism. I will be beautiful if I do this. I will be important if I do this. So we master things for the purpose of mastering ourselves and mastering our self-image and finding a way to feel good about who we are and what we are and to have power over the world. And that's all it is. It's just scheming, and it's scheming based on a sense of what will make me comfortable and happy-ish, having less irritating sounds in my head, saying unpleasant things. And this is all this is a struggle for, is to get to this peace. And the peace was destroyed by the process. The process introduced the whip, and you're just being gamed by it. And you think you're winning because I didn't get whipped today, and you call that a victory. That's how crooked and distorted your perception has become, because you really don't understand how the game works. And that's exactly what the master, the DNA molecule, wants. It wants you to just be a machine that plays the I'm winning game, and and so you're the game. You gamed yourself by allowing a DNA molecule to do your thinking for you. So yeah, it's all just comes back to this evolution thing, and like I said, when you look at the whole story, the human story is tragic enough. I mean, what our ancestors had to live through, the horrible black plagues, all kinds of just horrible things. I mean, watching most of your kids die, the measles epidemics, the blotches, botchy fevers, all kinds of shit. Just horrible, tough lives they had to live. And, no morphine, no relief at all. No hope of it. Just horrible years and years in cases of just protracted misery. And that's the human price. Just think of all the war dead, and we took a month or two for you to die of your wounds, septic and infected, and just horrible. Just horrible. So all of that suffering just in the human community, and then, like I said, magnify that by a bazillion, a Googleplex, a huge, insane amount of animal torment and misery and harm and screaming and anguish and fear, and terror, and misery and agony. And what for what? So we can pretend that we're Jedis moving into the multiverse, and we have wonderful things to say, and we're full of wonderfulness. If an alien showed up, we'd have an hour conversation and we'd be pretty much done. I mean, we don't have that much to say. We're not that charming. Because eventually you'll just get down to, you got any snacks? How many vaginas do you have? Can I fuck any of them? I mean, it will just become a conversation about what's in it for me, and do you have any comfort food? Do you have anything to to protect me from harm. And that shouldn't be the game you're playing. It certainly isn't a game you would shove your kid into. Go win the protect yourself from harm game. Yes, you don't win anything. You just win not being harmed worse. Be harmed the least game. I mean, be burned the least. Be poisoned the least. I mean, it's all negatives. And for people to think they're just on this is a grand adventure, is just so idiotic. I mean, this monstrous price for this silly delusion that oh yeah, this is so cool what we're doing. We're doing such cool stuff. That in and out thing. Yeah, it's all worth it. No, it's not. Yeah, it's fun, but it's not worth it. Way too high a price. Way overpriced. Insanely overpriced. And but yes, it's unpleasant to admit that we've been gamed and we're fucking idiots and we're selfish and we're have this deluded notion that if I in and out the golden pussy, everything will be okay. The whole universe will make sense. Yes, for 15 seconds, and then it's not going to make sense anymore again. I mean, it's just so fucking stupid. So, we'll keep it short. Simple-ish. So, I will make up for this poor video with a whole bunch of more poor videos, I suppose, when things are more normal, when I have electricity regular and such. So, probably a couple more days. Tree on the wires. I have video of it, but I don't even know if you can see the snow. It was blizzardy snow, terrible wind. It was horrible. It was nasty. And so the same old thing though. I mean, the idiot, not an idiot, but the farmer next door, across the street where the main, high voltage wires go across. He used to grow Christmas trees, right? So they planted way too many, and they grew really close to each other, and they grew really tall. So they're really thin and tall. And I don't know. There's only 20 feet of them. And I don't know why they just don't lop them all down. I mean, they should just force them to knock them down. Because every time there's a storm, it just happens like twice a year. One of his frickin' trees wipes everything out. It's just like, why do it's been going on for 15 years. Nobody can say, oh yeah, it's time we force him to cut those down. I mean, it wouldn't be that big a deal. I mean, it really isn't. I could do it in a day. Come on. Chainsaw, just knock them all down. You can cut them up later. Doesn't matter. There's nothing else on the property. There's just pine trees. I mean, it's not like you're sacrificing, some villa or something. Anyway, sorry. I don't want to get into any personal politics, but I mean, it's just so frickin' stupid to have to go through this shit. So anyway, the problem is that the whole state thingy has been lots of trees down, so we're, these 20 people on this road aren't a priority, so they're taking their time getting here. Haven't even looked at it yet, so the telephone pole broke. It's going to be a mess. Anyway, it's whining. It's just, I already live a kind of degraded life, and it just sucks to have it degraded any further. But anyway, so, till the next time. And,